Hey sweethearts, how are you doing? Welcome to Nanyacim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, what are you waiting for? Kindly smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification so you get notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I promise you are gonna like it here. So today there are some facts we really do need to know about African American, and it's coming from Jamaican woman. So it's more like she is spilling the facts about African American. And you know what? I really cannot wait to get into this video. So sweethearts, let's get into it.
So I want to respond to this quickly because I need people to understand that one of the reasons that Jamaicans and other African diaspora people react to African Americans and talk about African Americans in a way they do is because this was taught to us by white America. This is part of what I'm studying now in my graduate program. When they first started to recruit people to come to work here, right, about 5 or 6 decades ago, they told them that the African Americans were lazy people and they did not want to work. Meanwhile, at that time, it was because they didn't want to pay African Americans more money. They wanted to give them slavery wages. But African Americans were trying to hold out for more pay. Instead of paying African Americans more, what they did was recruit black people from the Caribbean, at that time controlled by Britain. So it was very easy for them to convince Britain that, hey, send those people who are down there with no jobs to our country to work. And when they came here, the white farm owners and those agricultural people told them and ingrained in them that the reason that they have to come to work is because African Americans don't want a job. Right? They went back home and they carried the same message and told the people there. And so this is a trope that has been passed on for decades and decades, year after year, as more and more come. That is what they carry because that's what they have been told. Now, when you come and you live amongst African Americans, and if you really look into the history and look at the systemic racism, you'll know that is not true. But then you also realize how difficult it is when someone grew up and was taught a certain kind of saying or a certain kind of belief. It's very difficult to get it out of them. So I know that it is not true. I know that it's because people want decent wages for the work that they do. But yeah, it is absolutely true that a lot of Caribbean people, Jamaicans included, and other diaspora people have bought into this trope that African Americans are lazy.
Oh my gosh. Now I see where she is coming from. Like, they wanted a decent pay, right? For what they are working for. So for that reason, they were they were labeled lazy. Like, how did they label them lazy for wanting, something decent for the job they do? That it's really kind of really crazy. All right, let's get into the next one and see what she got to say. Okay, here we go.
Okay, y'all don't believe nothing else the white man has taught you until it comes time to put us down. Then all of a sudden, the white man speaks truth. Then all of a sudden, he's a truth teller when it comes time to look down upon us and to spit upon us and to be better than us. Even when you come over here after the civil rights movement, seeing us beat upon, spit upon, hose down, you still believe what he tells you and jump on the superiority train. You're full of crap. Don't nobody want to hear that. You're full of it.
Wow. It is really them, that superior chain is just something that really needs to I don't know if it's ever gonna stop, but then it's something that has probably come to stay, and it's just people looking for a way to maneuver it and all that. So let's get into the next one and see what he got to say. All right.
This reminds me, I went to Africa, and my idea of what Africa is supposed to look like was shattered when I finally saw Africa. I was like, yo, this is not what I recall. So I get what she's saying. Media, especially white America or Western, media tells us the most negative things about us. And I think on both sides, this is what gets me, is because now we have so much access to each other that we shouldn't be having that. I know the older generations, they still have that struggles. I mean, even, here in America, they still have that struggle. But when I hear younger people say it, it's like, that's not true. Especially if you live over here, just because your parents say this means it's not true. Like, we have so much interaction with each other for you to even say it. So I'm glad someone's throwing it out there, because it's just dumb.
Actually, I'm also happy that someone is telling the story, because probably other people do not know about it. So let's get into the third one, the next one. Sorry.
Please go watch her video. It is so informative to see someone from the Black diaspora, from the Caribbean, talk about how they were taught to view African Americans as lazy, and how the unlearning of that has been so eye-opening. But it is also eye-opening to know that it's so hard for people of the diaspora to unlearn this idea that African Americans are lazy. And I just want to remind people that African Americans were only called lazy when they could no longer exploit our labor. When they found out that they had to pay African Americans livable wages, the way that they paid white people livable wages, that is when they started to exploit the labor of Black diasporic people. They do it to poor white people, they do it to anyone in the Black diaspora, and they do it to anyone in the Latin American diaspora. It is stressed that Black Americans are lazy. What is not stressed is the fact that African Americans have had their labors exploited, and that they still do not want to pay African Americans livable wages, and will take other groups and pin them against Black Americans for the sake of exploiting labor.
Really, this is just an important conversation, and it's kind of very informative, but heartbreaking, to see to see people build a country, win Olympics, fight for their rights, and still be thought people still think they are lazy, So I am glad someone is speaking up, because it's more like if someone didn't speak up, people would probably not know about this. So let's get into the last one.
If you haven't seen this quote yet, take a couple seconds and read through it. Pause the video and read through it, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, you done? All right. Okay, before we get into the meat of the matter, you have to know who the Isas are. The Isas are Syrians who came to Jamaica about 100 years ago as indentured laborers when we were under British rule. So, being who they are, when Jamaica became independent, people like the Syrians and the Chinese, and those, of course, who had lighter complexion, moved up the ladder closer to the hierarchy, ahead of the majority Black population. So the Isas were able to establish themselves economically. They have hotel chains, they have gas stations, they have restaurants, they have a massive economical operation here in Jamaica right now. In fact, the person in this who made this quote, Peter Issa, he runs a construction company, meaning they are developers. They build, like houses or commercial properties. This person is more than likely an employer of dozens, if not hundreds, of Jamaicans who, by his own statement, are not hardworking people. The people who work for him, the majority Black Jamaicans who work for him, just by his statement, they are not hardworking Jamaicans. Now, when people on Twitter called him out on his statement, he went on to talk about productivity, and people pointed out that Jamaicans generally are poorly paid and poorly treated in the workplace. But he was saying something like, even if their salary was doubled, productivity wouldn't improve. In essence, what he's saying, Jamaicans are not hardworking, they're lazy people, and they're not productive in the workplace. This is somebody who employs dozens, if not hundreds, of Jamaicans in his business. I don't know about you, but the longer I'm on social media, the more I realize just how much contempt the ruling class and the uptowners of Jamaica feel for the rest of us. As a matter of fact, because Jamaicans have been generally accepting of the status quo, we really and truly have allowed a small minority in Jamaica to essentially take control of the pie and lock the rest of us out and only give us piecemeal, drop some crumbs and give us every now and then. And that's why they are so bold to call us lazy and unproductive. It takes real commitment to live in a black majority country for more than a century and not tint your bloodline in any way.
Wait, excuse me. This is really an eye opener, you know? And it's really crazy. Yeah, I'm going to say it's kind of crazy how people come to people's country, like, and also exploit them. Really, yeah. They exploit them, and then, like, they term them, like, they were tagged like lazy because they needed, like, they are working. It's not like they are not working. They are working, but they needed something like tangible. I don't have to be working and you aren't paying me something tangible for what I am working for, right? I need something tangible to work for you. And when they feel like, oh damn, these people are kind of like, becoming maybe asking for more and all that, then they were termed, or they were tagged lazy. And like sometimes I'm kind of like, this is more like a real question. It's just like that, do people really, like, not know, like, of the immigration and immigration reform African Americans, like, fight for as part of the civil right movement. And I am really happy that this, like, this conversation, like, came up among them, and I totally enjoyed, like, listening to what they have, and more like also it's also enlightened me, because, like, probably if you read something like this somewhere, you are going to, like, okay, yeah, I agree with the media without even knowing the cause or the reason why something like that happened. And also, this is absolutely a very important conversation. Hey gang, thank you so much, sweethearts, for your support. I appreciate you. See you all in my next video, and you know what, bye for now.